This shall be known by all scholars and gods of unsullied knowledge. If you realize this, you will not be seeing the cause of difference. I think that we all should see the form of Shiva as the basic material. Myself, you, Brahma and Rudra who will be manifesting himself are of the same form. There is no difference. If there had been difference, that would have been bondage. Yet the eternal Shiva form is mine alone. Oh, that pure form is spoken of as the main root, the truth, the knowledge, the endless. Realizing this too, it must be meditated upon in the true manner in your mind. O Brahma, another secret which I am going to unfold to you may be listened to. You too are born of Prakriti, but not this one, Rudra. My command is carried to that place through Brahma's eyebrows. I am therefore spoken of as Tamasa and Prakrita, Hara in respect to the gunas alone, and shall be known as Vaikarika too, which is actually the Ahamkara, the ego. That is called Tamasa only in name and not in reality. For this reason, O Brahma, this shall be carried out by you. O Brahma, you shall be the creator and Hari the protector. My would-be part shall be the cause of dissolution. This goddess Uma, Parameswari, is the Prakriti. Her Shakti, the goddess of speech, shall resort to Brahma. Another Shakti also will be arising out of the Prakriti. That Shakti will resort to Vishnu in the form of Lakshmi. Another Shakti Kali will surely share my part. She will be born in the form of brilliance for effective work. Thus I have told you of the great auspicious Shaktis of the goddess. Their activities are respectively creation, maintenance, and dissolution. O foremost among gods, they are the parts of Prakriti, my beloved. O Vishnu, you shall carry on your activities with the cooperation of Lakshmi. O Brahma, with the cooperation of the goddess of speech, the part of Prakriti, you shall carry on joyfully the activity of creation, according to my direction. I shall have the cooperation of Kali, the part of my beloved, the greatest of the great, and shall carry out the excellent activity of dissolution in the form of Rudra. You shall be happy after the creation of the world, consisting of the four Varnas and their ancillaries, the four ashramas, stages of life, and various sorts of other incidental activities. You shall contribute to the welfare of the world, making use of your knowledge and perfect wisdom. O Vishnu, be the bestower of salvation too at my bidding. The benefit accruing from your vision will be the same as that from mine. This boon is given to you now. It is the truth, certainly the truth. Vishnu is in my heart and I am in Vishnu's heart. Those who make any distinction between the two do not know my mind. Vishnu is born of my left limb. Brahma is born of my right limb. Rudra, who causes great dissolution and who is the soul of the universe, is born of the heart. I manifest in the three forms, O Vishnu, known Brahma, Vishnu, and Bhava. I am the author of creation, protection, and dissolution by the attributes Rajas etc. But I am different from these gunas and directly beyond Prakriti and Purusa. I am the Supreme Brahman, the eternal, the endless, the perfect and the unsullied. Vishnu has tamas within but sattva outside, he is the protector of the three worlds. O Hari, who causes dissolution of three worlds, has sattva within but tamas outside. Brahma, who creates the three worlds, has rajas both within and without. This is the position of the gunas in the three deities. Shiva is spoken of as different from the gunas. O Vishnu, guard lovingly this Pitamaha who is the cause of creation. At my bidding, you will be worthy of respect in the three worlds. Rudra shall be worshipped by you and Brahma. The author of dissolution of the three worlds is the complete incarnation of Shiva. In the Kalpa called Padma, Pitamaha will be born as your son. Then you will see me. The lotus-born Brahma shall also see me. After saying this and conferring unequaled mercy, the great Lord Hara again spoke lovingly to Vishnu. Chapter 10, Description of Param Shiv Tattva. Lord Shiva said, O Vishnu of good rights, O Hari, listen to another pronouncement of mine. You will be worthy of honor and worship in all the worlds forever. Whenever a misery befalls the world created by Brahma, you shall be eager for the destruction of all miseries. In all difficult and unbearable activities I shall help you. I shall kill your indefatigable and fierce enemies. O Vishnu, spread your glory in the worlds far and wide by taking up various incarnations. Strive for their succor. I am always Saguna when I become Rudra with this body. Certainly I shall perform your activities for the sake of the worlds if they are impossible for you. You are to be meditated upon by Rudra and Rudra is to be meditated upon by you. There is no difference between you and Rudra. O great Vishnu, your identity is due to inherent nature, the boons conferred and your divine sports. True, it is certainly true. If any devotee of Rudra were to censure you, he will have all his merits reduced to ashes quickly. O Vishnu, the most excellent of all persons, by hating you he will certainly fall into hell. That is my directive. True, it is certainly true. O in this world, be the bestower of worldly pleasures and salvation to men particularly. Worthy of being honored and worshipped by devotees, perform the activities of curbing and blessing. Saying this and holding me, the Creator, and Vishnu by the hand he continued always render help in distress. Be the presiding deity of all. Bestow worldly pleasures and salvation forever. Be the most excellent accomplisher of the achievement of all desires. You will assume the form of the vital airs in everyone at my bidding. O Hari, in the times of distress, Rudra my manifestation, shall be worshipped. He who has sought refuge in you has certainly sought refuge in me. He who differentiates will certainly fall into hell. Listen to the span of life of the deities Brahma, Vishnu and Hara. There shall not be any doubt in this respect. 8,000 sets of the 4 yuga periods constitute one day of Brahma. The period of night is also similar. Further measurement of time is based on this calculation. 30 such days and nights, constitute 1 month and 12 months, 1 year. The span of life of Brahma is 100 such years. 1 year of Brahma constitutes 1 day of Vishnu. Vishnu lives for 100 years in his own calculation. 1 year of Vishnu constitutes 1 day of Rudra. When 100-year period passes, Rudra assumes the form of Nara, Supreme Man. Oh, he stays like that as long as the breath is retained by Sada Shiva. When he exhales he merges into Shakti. In the case of all living beings, Brahma, Vishnu, Hara, Gandharvas, serpents, Rakshasas, etc., 21,600 respirations constitute the period of 1 day and 1 night, O foremost among devas. 6 respirations constitute the period of time 1 pala. 60 such palas constitute 1 gudha. 60 gudis constitute 1 day and 1 night. there is no limit to the number of respirations of Sadashiva. Hence he is undecaying. It is my directive that you should preserve this form and maintain all the activities of the created worlds by means of these different gunas so long. On hearing these words of Shiva, the Lord Vishnu, of controlled senses, spoke slowly to Shiva after duly bowing to him. Vishnu said, O Sankara, the ocean of mercy, the Lord of the universe, be pleased to hear. I shall do all these things strictly adhering to your behests. I shall always meditate upon you. I would not act otherwise. Your omnipotency has already been experienced by me. O Lord, let not the meditation of your form be ever far removed from my mind even for a moment. O Lord, if any one of my devotees were to censure you, you will please assign perpetual residence in hell to him. O Lord, whoever be your devotee shall all be my favorite. He who knows and realizes this shall not find salvation inaccessible to him. Thy greatness has been further heightened by you certainly. If ever I am found deficient in qualities, I may be excused. Brahma said then, on hearing the excellent words of Vishnu, Shiva said to him, of course the deficiency shall be excused lovingly. After saying this mercifully, the Lord, the ocean of mercy, stroked us all over the body with his hands. With a desire to do what is wholesome to us, he instructed us in various sacred rites and conferred on us many boons. Even as we were watching, the Lord Shiva, favorably disposed towards devotees, vanished immediately. The rite of the worship of the linga is instituted ever since in the world. Shiva installed in the linga bestows worldly pleasures and salvation. The great goddess is the pedestal for the linga. The linga Lord Shiva himself. Since the whole universe finally merges into it is called linga. He who reads regularly this anecdote of the linga in the vicinity of the linga assumes the form of Shiva within 6 months. There need be no hesitation in this respect. O great sage, I cannot adequately express the blessedness accruing to the person who carries on any activity whatsoever in the vicinity of the linga. Chapter 11, The Mode of Worshipping Shiva. The sages said, O Sudha the fortunate, O Sudha the disciple of Ivyasa, obeisance be to you. This wonderfully sanctifying story of Shiva has been narrated today. The wonderful and highly divine origin of the linga has been heard. Listening to its efficacy causes destruction of misery. O storehouse of mercy, please tell us the mode of the worship of Shiva, in accordance with the conversation of Brahma and Narad, whereby Shiva becomes satisfied. Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras worship Shiva. How shall the worship be performed? Please tell us in accordance with what you have heard from Ivyasa. On hearing their words, Sutan narrated everything in answer to the question of the sages, everything conducive to welfare and in accordance with the Vedas. Sutta said, O lordly sages, your inquiry covers a very great secret topic. I shall explain it as far as my own intellect can penetrate it and in accordance with what I have heard. Formerly Ivyasa had asked the same question of Sanat Kumara as you have asked now. Upamanu learnt it from him. Ivyasa heard it from him and taught me the mode of worship etc. of Shiva from a desire for the benefit of all the worlds. It was directly heard from Upamanu, the noble soul, by Kriga. That I shall tell you in the same way as Brahma had said before. Brahma said, O sage Narad, I shall explain briefly the worship of the linga, the phallic image. It is impossible to explain it in detail even in 100 years. In order to achieve the fulfillment of all desires, one should worship with great devotion the pure and eternal form of Shiva. Thus poverty, sickness, harassment from enemies and the four sorts of sins trouble one only as long as one does not worship Shiva. When Shiva is worshipped, all miseries merge into the Lord, all happiness is secured and salvation is attained thereafter. Shiva, who secures the achievement of all matters, shall be worshipped by the person who considers a continuous series of human pleasures very important. Whether they are Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, or Sudras, they shall perform the worship of Shiva duly and regularly for the achievement of all desired objects. One shall get up early in the morning during the Brahma Muhurta, about an hour before dawn. He shall remember the preceptor and Shiva. O sage, he shall then remember the holy centers and meditate on Hari. Thereafter he shall remember me, the deities and the sages. Then he shall recite a prayer in the name of Shiva duly. Then he shall get up and evacuate his bowels in southern quarter. The evacuation of the bowels shall be done in an isolated place. What I have heard, in this respect, I am mentioning now. O sage, please listen attentively. They shall clean the teeth using the toothbrush twig according to their castes. What is enjoined by Manu shall be disobeyed only in emergencies. Performing the Achuman first, wearing washed cloth, he shall perform the Sandhya prayer in a good isolated place. After observing the preliminaries duly, he shall enter the chamber of worship keeping the mind steady and begin the rites of worship. Sitting on a good seat and performing nyaza etc. in accordance with the prescribed rules of worship, he shall perform the worship of Shiva duly. Ganesha, the attendants at the threshold of the temple, the guardians of the quarters etc., shall be worshipped, and thereafter the pedestal shall be arranged. Or he shall make the mystical diagram of the lotus of 8 petals and install Shiva in its middle. He himself shall sit near all the materials of worship around him. He shall perform Achuman thrice and wash the hands. He shall then perform suppression of breath thrice. The three-eyed Shiva shall be meditated upon in the following manner. The deity has 5 faces, 10 arms, all kinds of ornaments and the tiger hide as his upper cloth. He is as pure as the crystal. During meditation he shall identify himself with Shiva and burn off his sins. Having thus created the form of Shiva in meditation, he shall worship Lord Shiva. Then the ritualistic purification of the body by touching the various parts of the body with holy water shall be performed. The nyaza of the Mula Mantrantra, the root mantra, and that of the 6 angas with pranava, omkara, shall be performed thereafter. After ritualistically touching the heart, he shall start worship. Different vessels shall be set apart for water for washing the feet, arghya, water for the reception of the guest, and achuman, sipping water. 9 vessels of different sizes should be kept by the sensible devotee. Darba grass shall be spread and cool water sprinkled over these vessels with darba grass. Reciting the omkara, the intelligent devotee shall sprinkle the various materials of worship. The fragrant root of the plant yusura and sandal paste shall be put in the water for washing feet. Sandal powder shall be put in all these 9 vessels. Nandasa, the divine bull of Shiva, shall be worshipped beside the Lord Shiva. The latter shall be worshipped with incense and different lamps. The linga shall be purified and installed with various mantras beginning with pranava and ending with ma, obeisance. The pedestal in the form of svastika or lotus shall be assigned with pranava. In the 8 petals, In the 8 quarters, the 8 achievements are identified, viz. The eastern petal is anima, minuteness, the southern is lagama, lightness, the western is mahima, greatness, the northern is prapti, power of reaching, the southeastern is prakama, power of sufficiency, the southwestern is el siddha, lordliness, the northwestern ls vasitva, power of control, the northeastern is sarvanyatva, omniscience, and the pericarp is the moon, soma. Beneath the moon is the sun, and beneath that is the fire. Dharma etc. are beneath that. All these shall be assigned regularly. In the 4 quarters avyakta etc. the unmanifest principle, and in the end of soma the 3 gunas shall be assigned. Lord Shiva shall be invoked by the formula I am addressing Sadyojate, then the devotee shall repeat Vamadava mantra and stand on his seat. The sun at high right shall be performed with Rudra Gayatri mantra. The deity shall be bathed invoking Pranava with cow's milk, curds, honey, and sugar cane juice. Worshipping Rudra, who bestows everything that is wholesome and desirable with ghee, the devotee shall perform the abhishek with all materials of worship reciting Pranava. In the holy vessels full of water he shall pour water reciting various mantras after straining it with a white cloth duly. The sprinkling need not be performed until sandal paste is mixed. Then raw rice grains made beautiful, by adding turmeric powder etc., shall be offered joyously to Sankara. Offerings of flowers, especially white flowers and rare flowers, shall be made to Lord Shiva. Flowers of Apamarga, Karpira, Jatai, Kampaka, Kusa, Patala, Karavira, Malika, Kamala, Lotus, and Utpalas, lilies, of various sorts shall be used. When water is poured, it shall be poured in a continuous stream. Vessels of different varieties shall be used for the ceremonial ablution of Lord Rudra. A worship performed with due recitation of mantras bestows all benefits. O dear one, I shall tell you briefly those mantras for the sure achievement of all cherished desires. Please listen attentively. Offerings of flowers and water ablutions shall be made with these mantras, whether caused to be read or committed to memory and orally repeated. The Rudra mantra, Nilarudra mantra, Sukla Yajurveda mantras, auspicious Hotra mantras, Atharva Sursa mantras, Santi mantras, Marita mantras, Samaveda mantras, if desired, Devvrut mantras, Radhantara mantras with Puspasuktas, Mrityunjaya mantras, and the 5-syllabled mantra. The water offerings shall be 1,000 times or 108 times. They shall be offered strictly in accordance with Vedic injunctions or by repeating the names of the deity. Sandal paste shall be applied to the deity and flowers placed over the idol. Sweet-smelling cloves etc. shall be offered with pranava. Shivalinga shall be worshipped next. The Lord as pure as crystal, the unsullied, the undecaying, the cause of all worlds, the Supreme Lord identifying with the created world, the Lord who cannot be seen by Brahma, Indra, Upendra, Vishnu and other deities, the Lord who is mentioned in the Vedanta by those who know Vedas as the incomprehensible, the Lord who has no beginning, middle, or end, the panacea for all sick patients and who is renowned as Shiva Tattva. The worship of the Linga shall be performed, by Pranava mantra alone. Incense, lamps, naive diyas, good betel leaves, pleasant nirajana, waving of lights, shall be duly offered. Prayers, obeisance etc. with various mantras shall be performed. Arghya and flower offerings shall be made at the foot. the devotee shall kneel down and devoutly pray to the Lord. The devotee shall take some flowers in his hands, stand up with palms joined in reverence and repeating the following mantra shall pray again to Esan Sarikara. O Shiva, may this japa, puja etc. performed by me with or without the requisite knowledge be fruitful, thanks to thy grace. After repeating the above mantra he shall place the flowers joyously over the Shiva Linga. Then the rites of svasthayana, benediction, marjana shall be performed. Then homage, a prayer for forgiveness and achuman shall be performed. Repeating the Agga mantras for the expiation of sins namaskara shall be duly performed. He shall pray with devout feelings. Devotion to Shiva, devotion to Shiva, devotion to Shiva in every birth. I have no other refuge. You alone are my refuge. After praying thus to the Lord of the gods, the bestower of all achievements, the devotee shall loudly pray. He shall then perform namaskara along with the members of his family. He shall feel delighted in all these and thereafter carry on his daily routine according to convenience. He who performs the worship regularly like this with great devotion to Shiva shall achieve success at every step. He will become eloquent. He will achieve all the desires. The Supreme Lord Shiva will quell all his miseries, ailments, sorrows, heartburns, crookedness, poisonings and everything distressing quickly. Just as the moon waxes in the bright half, his joy and merits shall increase day by day certainly by the worship of Shiva. O foremost among sages, thus I have told you the mode of worship of Shiva. O Narad, what else do you wish to hear? Chapter 12, Consideration of the Essential and the Non-Essential in the Worship. Narad said, O dear Father Brahma, with your mind fixed on Shiva, you are blessed indeed. Please explain this again still more precisely. Brahma said, I, the lotus-born, once called together all the sages and all the gods and addressed them lovingly with these good words. If you have faith in permanent happiness, if you desire the achievement of the same, all of you shall come along with me to the shores of the milk ocean. On hearing these words they accompanied me to the place where Lord Vishnu, the benefactor of everyone, was stationed. O sage, on reaching the place, the gods bowed down with palms joined in reverence and prayed to the Lord of the universe Janardana, Lord of the gods. On seeing Brahma and other deities standing there, Vishnu remembered the lotus-like feet of Shiva and spoke these noble words. Vishnu said, Why have you all, Brahma and others and the celestial sages come? What is the matter now? Please tell me lovingly. Brahma said. On being asked thus by Vishnu as well as by me, the deities bowed to him with devotion and said, Whose worship shall we perform regularly for the removal of misery? On hearing these words, the Lord favorably disposed to the devotees, spoke as follows favoring me and the devas. The Lord said, O Brahma, hear. You and these devas have already heard this. Yet I shall repeat it to you and to the devas. It has been seen. It is being seen. Then why is it being asked now? O Brahma, Lord Shiva, the destroyer of all miseries, shall be served always by all who wish to achieve things. He himself has told me as well as Brahma particularly about this. His worship shall never be forsaken by those who wish to attain happiness. A wonderful example has been narrated to and seen by you all. When they abandoned worshipping the Lord of the Devas Maheswara in the form of the Linga, the sons of Tara along with their kinsmen perished. They had been enchanted by me. by my illusion they were driven far by me. When they were devoid of Shiva, they were all destroyed and exterminated. Hence Shiva in the form of phallic image shall be worshipped always. He, the foremost among deities, shall be served with special faith. It is by the worship of the linga of Shiva that all good men, devas daityas, I and you, O Brahma, are sustained. How is it that it was forgotten by you? Hence, O Brahma, his linga shall be regularly worshipped whatever may be the aim. Shiva shall be worshipped whatever the desire may be. If an hour or even a moment is spent without the worship of Shiva, it is a loss. It is an imperfection, a great foible, blindness, stupidity, and foolishness. Those who are devotedly attached to Shiva, those whose minds are turned towards Shiva and those who constantly remember Shiva, never become victims of misery. Those who desire magnificent buildings, beautiful ornaments, beautiful women, wealth to satiety, sons and grandsons, health, splendid body, extraordinary status, heavenly happiness and final salvation or profound devotion to the great Lord shall duly worship Shiva by virtue of their merit accumulated by them. Sure success will be his who regularly worships Shiva Linga with great devotion. He will never be afflicted by sins. Brahma said thus exhorted, the Devas knelt before Vishnu and requested for lingas for the achievement of the desires of all people. O foremost among sages, then, on hearing the request, Vishnu eager for the uplift of all living beings, told Vishwakarman. I too told him. O Vishwakarman, at my bidding, Shiva's auspicious lingas shall be made and given to all devas. At our bidding Vishwakarma made lingas and gave them to the devas according to their status. O foremost among sages, I shall tell you the same, please listen. Indra took a linga made of ruby. The son of Visravas, Kubera, took a linga of gold. Dharma took a linga of yellow stone, Varuna took a linga of dark blue hue. Vishnu took a linga of sapphire. I, Brahma, took a linga of gold. The 6 Svidevas and the Vasas took silver lingas. O sage, the Asvini Devas took the brazen and earthen lingas. Goddess Lakshmi took a crystal linga. The Adityas, the 12 sons, took lingas made of copper. The moon took a linga made of pearl and the god of fire took a linga of diamond. Great Brahmins and their wives chose lingas of earth. Maya took a linga of sandalwood and Sesanaga took a coral-made linga. The goddesses took the lingas of butter, the yogins took lingas of the ash, the yakshas took lingas of curd and the deity Chaya took a linga of beaten flour. The goddess Brahmani worships, of course, the linga of Ratna, precious gem. Vana and others worshipped a linga of mercury. Thus different kinds of lingas were given to them by Vishwakarma which the devas and the celestial sages worship regularly. After giving the devas the various lingas from a desire for their benefit, Vishnu explained the mode of worship of Shiva to me, Brahma. After listening to it, I, Brahma, the foremost among devas, came back to my abode highly delighted in mind. O sage, after reaching the place I explained the mode of worshipping Shiva that yields desires to the devas and sages. O sages and devas, be pleased to hear with love and pleasure. I am going to explain lovingly the mode of worshipping Shiva that confers worldly pleasures and salvation. The life as a human being is very difficult to obtain among all living beings. O devas, O sages, a life in a good family is still more difficult. After obtaining the still more difficult birth in a Brahmin family of good conduct on account of great merits, one shall perform rites assigned to propitiate Shiva. No one shall transgress duties assigned to his caste. Charitable gifts and sacred rites shall be performed to the extent of one's capacity and affluence. The tapoyagna, sacrifice in the form of penance, is far superior to thousands of karma yagnas, ritualistic sacrifices. The japayagna, sacrifice in the form of japas, is far superior to thousands of tapoyagnas, sacrifices in the form of penance. There is nothing superior to meditation, which is the cause of true knowledge, since the yogin is able to see his favorite deity of equanimity through meditation. Shiva is always present near a person set in meditation. There is no necessity for any atonement or expiation for a person of true knowledge. O gods, persons who have realized Brahman through pure learning need not perform any rite. They are freed from happiness or misery, virtue or evil, sacrifice or japa, meditation, or rules regarding the same. By virtue of their learning they are free from base passions and physical changes and decays. O the linga present in the hearts of yogins is the purest, blissful, auspicious, undying, all-pervasive, and unsullied. O Brahmins, linga is of two types, the exterior and the interior. The exterior is gross and the interior is subtle. Those who are engaged in ritualistic sacrifices and do regularly worship the gross linga are unable to steady the mind by meditating upon the subtle, and hence they use the gross linga. He who has not mastered the linga of the mind, the subtle one, must perform the worship in the gross linga and not otherwise. The pure undying subtle linga is ever perceived by the masters of true knowledge in the same manner as the gross one is thought to be very excellent by those who are not yogins. If we consider properly, there is nothing else for the real interpreter. Whatever is Niskala or Sakala is of the form of Shiva in the whole universe. This must be constantly thought of in the mind. Even if they are devoid of the ultimate perfect knowledge, no defect or deficiency can be ascribed to them. Rules regarding what shall be done and what shall not be done are not binding on them. The knower, of course, is not at all bound by actions, even if he continues the householder's life just as the lotus standing in water is not contaminated by the water. Till the realization of perfect knowledge, a man should continue the ritualistic worship of Shiva. In order to convince the world, the rituals must be continued. Just as the sun is reflected in many vessels with water, in the same manner, O Deva, know that the Supreme Brahman, Shiva, assumes the forms of whatever is seen or heard in the world, real or unreal. There is difference in the vessels but not in the water that they contain. This is what those who know the real meaning of the Vedas say. Lord Shiva is within the heart of beings in this world. Of what avail are the idols to those who have this real knowledge? Having an idol is very auspicious for a person who has no such knowledge. It is a ladder that enables him to climb to a higher position. It is very difficult to climb to a position without a support. The idol is only a means to achieve the Nirguna Shiva. The attainment of the Nirguna, through a Saguna, is certainly possible. In this manner, the symbols of all lords are conducive to a steady faith and belief. This Lord is very great, and this is the mode of worship of that Lord. If there is no idol, of what avail are scents, sandal paste, flowers, etc.? Till the realization of true knowledge, the idol shall necessarily be worshipped. If anyone does not worship the idol before he attains perfect knowledge, his downfall is sure. O Brahmins, hear the true statement of facts. For the same reason as mentioned before, the duties of your own caste shall be performed assiduously. Worship shall be performed where devotion is directed. Without worship and charitable gifts, sin cannot be kept at bay. As long as there is a vestige of sin in the body, achievement need not be expected. When the sin is wiped off, all rites will bear fruit. If there is dirt in the cloth, the dyeing process cannot be carried out effectively. After the cloth is bleached, any dye can be applied to it effectively. Similarly, when the body is freed of its dirty stuff by proper worship of deities, the dye of knowledge can stick to it, whence true knowledge will arise. The root of true knowledge is unswerving devotion. The root of knowledge too is devotion. The root of devotion is good action and the worship of one's own favorite deity. The root of that is the good preceptor. A good preceptor is secured only through association with good people. If one associates with good people, one will come across a preceptor. From the preceptor, mantras and the modes of worship can be learned. Bhakti, devotion, is generated by worship and it gives birth to knowledge. Knowledge leads to perfect knowledge and realization of the Supreme Brahman. When there is perfect knowledge, differentiations cease altogether. When differentiation ceases, the misery of mutually clashing opposites vanishes. He who is free from the tangle of opposites and the miseries attendant on them assumes the form of Shiva. O celestial sages, when the mutually clashing opposites do not afflict, a person endowed with true knowledge has neither happiness nor misery. Rules of do's and don'ts do not bind him. Such a person who has not entered a household life is rare to meet with. If there is such a one, he will quell all sins by his mere sight. Oh, even the holy centers praise such a person of knowledge. Devas and all sages consider him the supreme Brahman, Shiva himself. The holy centers or the deities in the form of clay or rock idols are not equal to him. They take time in sanctifying persons. But a man of true knowledge purifies through his sheer vision. As long as he continues the life of a householder, he shall perform the worship of the idols of the most excellent of the 5 deities with pleasure. Or it is enough if Shiva alone is worshipped. The root is the most important. When the root is watered, O gods, the branches are well cared for. O excellent sages, if the branches are taken care of, it does not necessarily mean that the root is cared for. When the deities are propitiated, the same analogy holds good. Our aim shall be to propitiate Shiva if we are sensible. O gods, if Shiva is worshipped, all the gods are worshipped. Hence a person who wants to do good to all living beings shall worship Shiva, the benefactor of the world, for the attainment of all desires. Chapter 13, The Mode of Worshipping Shiva. Brahma said, O sages, O devas, listen. Now I shall explain a mode of worship than which there is no better one and which is conducive to the achievement of all happiness and cherished desires. Getting up in the Brahma Muhurta within an hour before dawn, one shall remember Shiva accompanied by his consort. With palms joined in great devotion and head bent down, he shall offer prayers. O Lord, Devas, get up, get up. O Lord stationed in the heart, get up. O Lord of Uma, get up. Confer your auspicious blessings on the entire universe. I know what is virtuous, but I am not inclined to work it up. I know what is unrighteous, but I am unable to desist from it. O Mahadeva, I do everything as prompted by you, stationed in my heart. After repeating these words of prayer and remembering the sandals of the preceptor, he shall go out to the southern direction for answering the calls of nature. Cleaning the body thereafter with earth and water and washing his hands and feet, he shall clean the teeth. Cleaning of the teeth shall be completed before sunrise. He shall gargle 16 times with so many mouthfuls of water. O celestial sages, the tithes of Sasthya, Navami as well as new moon days and Sundays are forbidden for cleaning the teeth with toothbrush twigs. Bath shall be taken at a convenient time in rivers or in the house itself. No man shall take bath against the conventions of locality or the convenience of the season. Hot water bath shall be avoided on Sundays, Sraddha days, Sarakranti days, at the times of eclipse, on days of great charity and fast, in holy centers and during the days of impurity due to death or birth in the family. In the holy ponds and rivers one shall take bath facing the east with great devotion. Bath shall be taken after due consideration of the place and season duly. He shall face either the north or the east when taking bath. He shall never take bath wearing another man's clothes. He shall take bath in pure clothes and shall think on his favorite deities. If he wears during the night another man's clothes, the same are not impure, hence there is no harm in taking bath with those clothes on, but after taking bath they must be washed and returned. After bath he shall perform water libation propitiating gods, sages, and the manis. Thereafter washed and dried clothes shall be worn and achuman performed again. In a clean place washed and smeared with cow dung, the devotee shall take his seat, O Brahmins. The seat shall be made of wood or a cloth cover. A seat of diverse colors is conducive to the achievement of all desires. Or he can have the hide of a deer for a seat. He shall sit on it and apply tripundra with the ashes. Prayers, penance, and charity shall be performed with due markings of tripundra on the forehead for sure results. If ashes are not available, marking may be done with holy water. After marking tripundra on the forehead, the devotee shall wear rudraksha. After daily rites are over, he shall begin the worship of Shiva. Then he shall perform a kamana, the sipping of water thrice with the requisite mantras or once, saying that it is a drop of Ganga water. Rice cooked with water shall be brought for the worship of Shiva. Whatever other things he can bring shall also be brought and kept near. A vessel for arghya with water and scented raw rice grains shall also be brought. To complete the formalities of worship, the vessel shall be placed on the right shoulder. He shall think upon the preceptor and ritualistically take his permission for the worship. He shall perform the rite of Samkalpa, including the requisite mantras and statements about the puja, the day, month, year etc., and the purpose of the puja, and aver his desire. He shall perform the worship of Shiva with his attendants devoutly. Showing the mystic mudra and using saffron and other materials, he shall bow to and worship Ganesha, who confers benefits 100,000 times and is accompanied by his consorts Siddhi and Buddhi. He shall repeat his names ending in the dative case appended with nma and prefixed with panava. After craving for forgiveness of the deity, he shall be worshipped again in the company of his brother Kartikeya with great devotion and shall be bowed to again and again. The big-bellied Ganesha, the gatekeeper of the Lord, shall be worshipped. Goddess Sati, Girija shall be worshipped then. After worshipping Shiva with sandal paste, saffron, incense, various lamps, and food offerings of different sorts he shall bow down again. In the house, the linga shall be made of clay, silver, or any other metal or mercury. It shall be bowed to with devotion. If that is worshipped, all deities are worshipped. If the linga is made of clay, it shall be installed duly. The householders shall perform every rite according to prescribed rules. After performing the purificatory rite of the Buddhas, the installation of the idol shall be performed. If the worship is performed in the temple of Shiva, the guardians of the quarters shall be installed and worshipped. In the house, Shiva shall be worshipped by the root mantra. It is not obligatory that the gatekeeper shall be worshipped. The linga that is worshipped by me can be worshipped in the house. Everything is installed in the same. At the time of worship, the Lord shall be invoked along with his attendants and paraphernalia. But there is no hard and fast rule governing this aspect. He shall provide his own seat in the vicinity of Shiva. He shall face the north and perform the rite of Achuman, sipping water. The devotee shall wash his hands and feet and perform pranayama 10 times with Mula Mantrantra. 5 mystic mudras shall be shown with the hand before the worship. Only after showing the mudras shall the worship be performed. The lamp shall be shown then. Homage shall be paid to the preceptor. He shall then seat himself in the yogic poses of Padmabhadra, Utthana, or Paryarika, whichever is convenient, and perform the rites once again. After the worship he shall float it along with the cake. If the worship is performed in the house, these rules are not binding. Afterwards the excellent linga shall be washed with the water from the vessel of Arghya itself, after keeping all the material with the concentrated mind. The Lord shall be invoked then with the following mantra. I am invoking Shiva, the blissful and favorably disposed to the devotees, Shiva seated on the summit of Kailasa, the excellent Lord of Parvati, Samhu of the form as mentioned before, both with or without qualities, possessed of 5 faces, 10 hands, 3 eyes, and the bull for banner, as white as camphor, of divine limbs, having crescent moon on the head, wearing matted hair, clad in the hide of an elephant and with the hide of the tiger as upper garment, with vajaki and other serpents. Turned round his body, holding pinake and other weapons, having the 8 Cdzo, accomplishments, dancing constantly in front of him, served by crowds of devotees crying loudly, "Be victorious! Be victorious!" of unbearable sight due to excessive splendor, served by all devas, the sole refuge for all living beings, of beaming face shining like lotus, and always eulogized by Vishnu and Brahma as extolled by the Vedas and sacred texts. After the meditation of Shiva along with his consort, the seat shall be arranged for. Worship shall be performed with the names ending in dative case. Padya and Arghya shall be offered to Shiva. After offering Achuman, the Supreme Atman Shiva shall be bathed with 5 materials, milk, curds, honey, etc. Then the offerings shall be made with great devotion, reciting the requisite Vedic mantras or the names ending in the dative case. Similarly, any desirable and desired material shall be offered to Shiva. Thereafter the ceremonial ablution shall be performed to Shiva. Sweet-smelling sandal paste and others shall then be applied. The water poured over the deity in a continuous current shall be rendered fragrant. The water ablutions shall be made reciting Vedic mantras or 6-syllabled mantra 11 times, if so much time can be spared, then the deity shall be wiped with a cloth. Then the Achuman shall be offered and cloth dedicated. Gingali seeds, barley grains, wheat, green gram or black gram shall then be offered to Shiva with various mantras. Then flowers shall be offered to the five-faced noble soul. Holy basil leaves or bilva leaves shall be offered to each of the faces in accordance with the previous meditation or according to one's wish. By all means Shiva favorably disposed to his devotees shall be worshipped with great devotion. If other flowers are not available, bilva leaves shall be used exclusively in the worship of Shiva. With the offering of bilva leaves alone, the worship shall be performed. Then scented powders, sweet-smelling oil etc. of various sorts shall be offered to Shiva with great joy. Then incense, gugula, the fragrant gum resin, and aguru, the fragrant aloe wood, shall be offered. Thereafter a lamp lighted with ghee shall be offered to Shiva. With great devotion the rite of wiping of the face shall be performed with a cloth. With the following mantra, arghya shall be offered with great devotion. O Shiva, give us good features, good fame, and good enjoyment of pleasures. Taking this arghya give us the pleasures of the world and salvation. Obeisance be to thee. Then various kinds of food offerings shall be made to Shiva. The deity Shiva shall be eulogized lovingly with various hymns. Then the devotee shall circumambulate around Shiva by and by. Then he shall perform prostration with the 8 limbs touching the ground many times. He shall then offer handfuls of flowers with great devotion repeating the following mantra. O Shiva, whatever I have done by way of worship etc. with or without sufficient knowledge for Shiva the great Lord, in order to secure his satisfaction shall be fruitful by your grace. O Merda, I belong to you. My vital airs are fixed in you. My mind is always concentrated in you. O Gauriza, O Lord of goblins, be pleased with me. Those who stagger and falter on the ground are supported by the ground alone. O Lord, those who have offended you shall find in you alone as their refuge. After entreaties like these the devotee shall make a handful of flower offering. Then he shall bow down many times and take the ritualistic farewell. O Lord, be pleased to return to your abode along with your attendants. Please come again when I perform worship. After requesting thus many times, Shiva, who is favorably disposed to his devotees, shall be bidden farewell to abide in the heart. The holy water shall then be applied over the head. O sages, thus I have entirely explained the mode of worshipping Shiva that confers worldly pleasures and salvation. What else do you wish to hear? Chapter 14, Directions for the Worship of Shiva. The sages said, O disciple of Vyasa, O fortunate one, please explain to us authoritatively the fruits granted by Shiva for the different worships with different flowers. Sutta said, O sages, Saunaka, and others, please listen attentively. I shall lovingly explain to you the mode of offering flowers, which is the same as Brahma explained to Narad at his request. Brahma said, a person desirous of wealth shall worship Lord Shiva with lotuses, bilva leaves, petals of lotuses, or with sarika flowers. O Brahman, if a devotee worships Shiva with 100 flowers, his sins shall be wiped off and the devotee shall become rich. 20 full lotuses constitute 1 prastha measure. 1,000 bilva leaves constitute half a prastha. Petals of lotuses, 1,000 in number, constitute half a prastha. 10 tanka weight constitutes 1 pala and 16 palas make 1 prastha. Flowers for worship shall be weighed in the balance according to this calculation. The worship thus duly performed shall accord all cherished desires. If the devotee worships with no specific desires, he will become Shiva himself. O lordly sages, a person desirous of obtaining a kingdom shall propitiate Lord Shiva with the worship of 100 million earthen lingas. Lord Shiva confers a kingdom on the devotee certainly. He shall use Shivalinga for worship. Flowers shall be used. Unsplit rice grains mixed with sandal paste shall be used. The ceremonial ablution shall be performed. The manrata used shall be pleasing. Bilva leaves are very excellent. Or he can use loose petals or full lotuses or sankha flowers according to ancient authorities. The worship is divine and accords pleasures and achievement of desires both here and hereafter. He shall not omit other items such as incense, lamps, food offerings, arghya, arartika, waving of lights, pradakshina, namaskara, craving forgiveness, and visarjana, the ritualistic dismissal. At the end he shall feed other devotees. A person who yearns for important positions shall worship half the former number. A person desiring release from prison shall worship 100,000 lingas of Shiva. A person afflicted by ailments shall worship half that number. A person desiring a daughter shall worship half that number. A person desirous of learning shall worship half that number. A person desirous of eloquence shall worship Shiva with ghee.